you always see fighters and athletes and all that sort of thing. I guess all they do is just what their craft is. So if they're a soccer player, they just play soccer. If they're a UFC fighter, they just fight. You're a bit different. When I met you, you were more doing the business stuff as well. You were spending actually just as much time in the business world as you were in the fighting.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're actually more involved in the business stuff than you are fighting.
Yeah, so I can't speak for other sports, but I can tell you that martial arts, UFC in particular, there's not like the same kind of money that you get in soccer, big league soccer, EPL, Champions League, those kind of things. So, but you're exactly right. Fighters will sit and complain about their pay, but all they do is fight. You know what I mean? They're not out there actively trying to find sponsors. They're not trying their hand at digital marketing. They're not trying to start up other businesses. And a lot of them say it takes away from their craft, it takes away from the potential of them, you know, being a champion, for example. But very few people, like probably less than 1% of fighters around the world will get to the UFC. Less than 1% of those guys will ever make any decent money. And then less than 1% of those ones will ever be a champion. So the chance you're going to be a champion is you know, it's very slim, and it's good to put all your eggs in one basket and back yourself. But at the same time, you need to have a contingency, and that was my whole thing. So I definitely haven't sacrificed my career because I've been in the UFC 10 years, done very well. You know, good winning record, ranked pretty high. You know, hopefully get in the top 15 soon. But what I have done is I've set myself up well and truly for whatever happens. The UFC can call me right now and say you're done with fighting, and I'm set up forever.
Okay.
Yeah, probably I'd say 1/3 of my wealth has come from fighting in the UFC.
1/3.
1/3. Yeah.
So all the rest is business.
All the rest is business, and majority passive as well.
So this takes away from sponsorships, all that sort of stuff. This is just purely business outside of the whole fighting game.
Yeah, business outside the fighting game, and
Okay.
this is anything from physical businesses, majority probably online. I'd say online. From digital marketing to affiliate marketing, using my IP to get equity in companies. So without necessarily putting up money up front, which is a good trick we learned from Aaron, our friend Aaron. And but you know what? Yeah, but then you're more invested in a business. So if a sponsor comes to you, I have put towards sponsors before, like, hey, instead of you paying me a once off, I can go above and beyond, or I can do less. You're paying me what you're paying me. But when you get equity, no matter how big or small it is, you actually have an investment, but you're actually invested in that company, and you'll see the return depending on the effort you put in. So you put it to sponsors that way, and some do go for it, some don't. Obviously, it's people are very protective of their companies, but I found going that equity route, it actually works, and and like I said, it just makes you want to put more effort into the company and help it grow, as opposed to doing an endorsement. You're not invested into the company. You have no interest whether the company does well or not. They're going to pay you. You do your few posts for them, and that's it. So it's definitely something that I'd love to teach fighters to go that route.
Yeah, well, that's huge because you look at people like Reynolds and people like that. He made his billions not through acting, whatever it was. He made it through, instead of getting paid up front for a role or a job, whatever it was, he took a percentage of the company or percentage of the revenue. So all these soccer teams he's partnered with, I think he done the same thing with Aviation Gin. Same thing. Instead of saying, here, I'll pay me this much to promote it, he goes, no, don't pay me anything. I will promote it constantly, but I want a percentage of either the revenue and the sales or just a percentage of the company. And he's killed it.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. And doing it that way is passive. So it's not really going to affect your career in a sense. Like I have shares in multiple businesses, a lot of them multi-million-dollar companies. And a lot of them, I don't actually have to put any time or effort into them. It's just being present online, using my IP, and that's how I get my equity in the company. It doesn't take away from my career at all. It's not as if I'm going and working 5 different jobs, 5 different full-time jobs throughout the week. I just and when I'm training, when it's time to do training camp, they all understand that that's where my focus is, and I go and train for the fights. But then doing the business stuff outside of fighting, it actually makes you hungry to get back into the gym. When all you do is train, you get a bit complacent. When you're sitting around all day, you train in the morning, you just sit around at home, you train at night time. It's hard to get up and go again. And like I said, you get complacent. It's hard to go and work hard or train hard when you're sleeping in silk sheets, so to say.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? So when you do have to sit behind a desk and do work on the laptop and crunch away and grind, you can't wait till it hits that time to go to the gym and train. So it keeps you hungry, and it's kept me hungry in a sense. And because I see, I do love doing the admin side of the work because it's something I haven't really done before. But doing it, I can understand, some people sit there for 8 hours a day at a desk and do this stuff day in, day out. That's their job. And it makes me grateful for the life that I have, that I can go and train for a living. So it's sort of, in a sense, it sort of motivates me to do even better in my UFC career. Whereas if the guys that fight and that's all they do, you definitely get complacent. And when it starts fleeting and it starts coming towards an end, they don't really understand the gravity of that and how much it's going to affect their life afterwards, because they're going to go and work a normal job, and then you're going to wish that you put in that effort to stay in the UFC, for example. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I understand that because I do dabble in business, so I do see what life could be like with a full-time job, and it just makes me hungry to want to stay in the game.
Well, the crazy thing about what you just said is that I've always heard that athletes, especially when they come towards the end of their careers, like what you just said, they actually become depressed, and because they've got nothing else. That's their whole image. That's what they base their life around. That's basically their life. So when they retire or they get dropped or whatever it is, they actually become depressed because they've got nothing else going for them. And I read a book ages ago. I can't actually remember the name of the book, but it spoke about an athlete that I'd be lying to you if I said the name, but basically it was a very well-known athlete, and basically he had spent his time playing his sport, but also in business, because he said that if I feel like this is my everything, I couldn't do good in my sport. But because he had his business to back him, if he had an injury or he got dropped or something happened, it wasn't over. So he started playing better when he had that backing, because he was doing it for fun. When he was doing it for a career to make sure he actually had food on his table and food to feed his family, he didn't feel the same way.
Yeah.
And it felt like more of a job than for fun.
Yeah.
So he actually ended up becoming a better player afterwards.
Yeah. No, 100%. Yeah. A bit of a safety net actually gives you the courage to push the boundaries. When all you do, and I've been there. Like when I was younger, undefeated, won my first however many fights in the UFC, and then you feel that little bit of vulnerability in your first loss, and you go, this could be taken away. If I lose another one or two more, it could be it. And what happened, the complete backflip from what got me to the UFC was my aggressiveness and the way I fought. I did a complete 180 and started fighting safe. And I had a big string of fights where it was during COVID as well, but the same thing. I didn't really have any safety net. So I'm like, I have to stay in the UFC or I'm not going to be able to feed my family. So my fights started becoming a little bit safer, the way I'd approach my fights, and it made for terrible fights. And so all the business ventures that I'm chasing now have all come since COVID. So all the shares, I didn't have any shares in anything pre-COVID. I hadn't dabbled in any online businesses pre-COVID. All this was in the last few years that I've generated all that wealth and experience.
So before that, what were you doing?
Just fighting.
So you were fighting. I know from like the age of 18 you started fighting.
So I started fighting. So I had my first fight when I was 16. Been training in martial arts and fighting my entire life. So for me, it is my identity. That's all I've ever done since I was a kid. Some guys, they work and they have to support, they work a full-time job while they're trying to get to the UFC. I didn't do any of that. I've never worked a single day in my life. And so for me, fighting is my identity. So if anyone's going to be depressed when they stop fighting, it's going to be me. But it's not the case. I don't look forward to the day where, let's say, it gets taken away from me fighting, but the day where I can amicably and happily retire and then go really hard into the business, I actually look forward to it because I have that safety net, because I know that I'm not going to lose myself afterwards. I've seen guys completely crumble after they've lost their, they're just holding pads for $50 an hour for the rest of their life in a gym because they've got no other qualifications, no other business skills, they haven't started any other businesses. I've seen guys go and join the military at like their mid-30s because they're finished fighting, and that was who they were, and they just lost, and they don't know what to go and do.
Oh wow. Wow. So because they had they had nothing else to fall back on, they've just gone to whatever they could grab.
And it's swept out from under you instantly. Like, you could be in the UFC up here on top of the world, and you can just have 2 or 3 bad fights, and that's it. And once you're out of the UFC, it's the hardest part would be trying to get back to the UFC. Very rarely happens. Very, very rarely happens that someone get re-signed to the UFC. And the UFC, as much as the fighters rag on the pay, it is the highest paying by a mile. By a mile.
So the UFC is a good paying sort of gig?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, like I get paid. Like, I've had 20 fights in the UFC now, so I get paid. To me, for a kid who's from Epping, from a blue collar suburb that grew up with a working class family, I get paid stupid money. I get paid stupid money to go and fight. For me to wake up and train twice a day, and do something I love, and then go travel around the world and fight in front of massive crowds that just love you, I get paid ridiculous money. It should be for free almost. That's how much I enjoy it. That's how fun it is. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, they say if you love your job, you never work a day in your life. Like, I genuinely, love it that much that I would do this for free. If the UFC said, look, we're going to cut you, or you can just keep fighting and not get paid, I'd happily just keep fighting and not get paid.
So now, would you say that would be the case if you didn't have the business sort of stuff happening in the background?
No. If I didn't have the business stuff, I'd be going and working at Coles.
No, I'm saying Walmart, more like that mindset of I'll fight for free sort of thing. I'm just doing it for the fun of it now. Do you think that would have ever came if you had not had focused on business at all?
No, not at all. No, because I've been there where I didn't have business backing, I didn't have the safety net, and it made me become a very safe fighter for the fear of losing my position in the UFC. And people have obviously seen the difference in the last 4 or 5 fights. I've just opened up and just started letting loose a bit more. Obviously, you still have to be smart in there and be a smart fighter. But the old young Jake sort of coming back a little bit because there's less cares. Like, I go in there, I just don't care. I just want to fight now. I'm not going in there as a job. I'm not going in there to feed my kids. I'm going in there to fight and bash the person that's standing across from me. And that's how you're going to fight them. That's the mindset you need to have. If you're going to go into battle and with fear of this and that, and family can be fed, you're not going to be efficient at all. The efficiency for me comes from just having a clear mind and nothing to worry about. And the last 3 fights, it's like I'm happy to die in there. Everything else back home is sorted. The family will be sorted. They'll be sad, but they'll be sorted. So I'm happy to go and die in there. Whereas when they're solely reliant on me because I didn't have any other fallbacks, then that's when the fear comes in of losing.
So have you helped any other athletes do the same as you?
I haven't helped any other athletes. I was going to start a platform. So I've got this thing I say, it's AON, all or nothing. And it started when I was during that COVID phase of being fearful. That's when I just started saying that phrase, all or nothing. That's whether it's business, whether it's fighting, that's how you have to approach stuff. If you're not going to give it your all, then don't do it at all. All or nothing. You give all or don't do it. And whether I go into my fights like that now, and I've withdrawn from fights because I've been injured. I can't give all, so it's going to be nothing. Live to fight another day. So I've adopted that mindset now. And even with my businesses, if I'm not going to be 100% invested and give 100%, I won't go into the business for myself, for one, but also for the other parties involved as well. If I'm not going to give myself 100%, it's not fair on them either. So I'll feel out the businesses. We'll have meetings, multiple meetings, as many as it takes for me to make a determination. Okay, I'm going to give everything into this. I believe in it. Or I'm not. I'm going to step back and not do it at all. So I've taken that mindset. But yeah, I was starting a platform called All or Nothing Academy and wanted to teach people, mostly fighters, but anyone who's got big career aspirations. It's very hard to do that when you have to work a full-time job, especially something that you don't like, and that's not part of the career you're chasing. Just solely to support yourself. So especially for fighters or athletes, if you've got to work a full-time job and you've got a family to support, it's going to be very hard to get where you want to go. Especially for a UFC fight, it's probably unlikely to happen. That's why you're starting to see these young kids get into the UFC because they don't have mortgages, they don't have kids, they're living at home, and they can just chase their dream 100%. And the older guys, you know what I mean, they're starting to to drop off because it is hard. And even when you get into the UFC, your first few fights, a lot of these guys are still either coaching, taking PTs, or potentially working jobs as well. There's guys that are there's UFC fighters that are firefighters, working like jobs as firefighters.
So when they're not training, they're
working.
firefighting.
They're firefighting, or guys are whatever jobs, labouring. You don't hear about it, but it does happen because you're not getting paid enough. So that's when I wanted to start showing these young people, doesn't matter what sort of industry you want to get into, how to make passive income and support yourself that way. Because passive means you're putting in minimal. You still have to put in effort. Nothing's going to come for nothing, but you have to put in minimal effort, and you're getting some sort of return. And whether that's multiple revenue streams, the way I did it, I had my fingers in all the pies, but it kept us afloat, and was able to keep me. So I haven't worked a single day in my life. I have not worked a single day in my life.
How many athletes do you reckon can actually say that?
Probably none.
No?
Probably none. I've been in the UFC for 10 years and supported myself the whole way through. Obviously, in the early days, I was at home with the family, but I had a young family. I had kids young. I was out with my wife. We're out in our own house, moving from rental to rental to rental to rental, and doing it hard sometimes. I haven't told anyone these stories before. This is the first time it's been aired, but I've had fights where I've weighed in, especially in Melbourne in particular, and I had to get a taxi to my wife's house. It was her first investment house, and I had to get her to feed me. I had to pay the taxi fare on her credit card, because I had 58 cents in my account. I remember the number, 58 cents in my account before a UFC fight, mind you. And she had to cook for me because I couldn't afford to stay in the city and eat after weigh-ins. So I didn't eat at all after weigh-ins. I just drank, caught a taxi to my wife's house, paid it with the credit card, ate, and then caught a taxi back in the city, and then fought the next night.
Oh, wow.
And no one knew. I didn't even tell my closest friends or family. No one knew. And that was probably one of the few fights where I just decided, nah, this is not how it should be. Especially going into COVID, fights are few and far between. With kids as well, you can't be running dry like that. So that's when I decided I'm just going to try everything and anything, and failed more than I've succeeded, especially with the online stuff, but found those things that just hit and stuck with them. And that's led into me getting into physical business as well, shareholding, passive income online. And yeah, still till today, never worked a day in my life, but being able to support, manage. So it hasn't been all sunshine and rainbows the whole way. And but I still managed to do it, and still in the UFC 10 years later.
That's pretty cool, man. To be able to even say that, that's pretty cool.
I've told a few friends, and they're like, "Man, why didn't you tell me that you had no money?" I said, "I'm not going to ask no one for help." So I'll sort it out, and I got it sorted. And it just taught me resilience, and was really the kick I needed to get into all this passive business. I say passive, but nothing's truly passive. You got to put effort in. Even my most passive incomes, I'm still putting effort in to make sure that there's going to be a return there. So people just need to understand that if they do want to support themselves that way, it still takes some sort of work, but it's better than going and working a labouring job or working 9 to 5 at a supermarket, and then going and training at night, training in the morning, trying to chase an athletic career. It's not going to happen. It's going to be very hard. Only very few people can do something like that.
Well, you're basically you can create an income for yourself where there's like you're right. There's never going to be anything that takes zero effort, but it's minimal because you can spend, let's say, 2 hours a fortnight or 2 hours a month on an income that could bring you in $100,000 a year.
Yeah.
So if you work it out, you're not really doing a lot.
But these guys, I guarantee you, they're sitting on the PlayStation 2 hours. I'll say 2 hours a week, probably 2 hours a night. These fighters, it probably comes from the jiu-jitsu side of things, but it's very much train, go relax, go surf, go smoke weed, do this, do that. I was train, stay out, don't go home, stay out. My laptop's there, my diary's there. I'm training, and I'm going and sitting somewhere and doing work. I'm going home, pulling the laptop out, I'm doing work. I'm using my network. I'm trying to create, new business connections, trying to chase my own sponsors. It was constant all day. There's never a time I was sitting on the couch playing Xbox, playing PlayStation. I actually I just bought a PS5.
I think you're telling me.
I just bought a PS5. I haven't had a PlayStation How long has the PS5 been out for? Years.
Oh, a few years
I
now.
just bought one,
Yeah.
and I downloaded a game, and I sat on it for 20 minutes, and I was like, nah. So I cannot do this. I
Oh,
can't.
so you just put it
I
aside.
mean, I
that's
don't know.
it.
It's, the smart TVs now have all the Netflix, so I don't really need it. It's useless. But I mean, if my mates come over, I want to play FIFA maybe. But I sat there and tried to play Call of Duty for 20 minutes, and I was like, I cannot do this. Like I feel like I'm just missing out on the opportunity to go and it's something simple as just making a connection or missing an email. Like I that FOMO in the business sense, that's what I get. People get FOMO with parties. People get FOMO with going to events and music festivals. I get FOMO with missing business opportunities. So I always have to be on the go. I always have to be ready to answer messages. I've gone into message requests on Instagram, which I haven't looked at for 6 months, and there's messages in there from big businesses wanting to do, even if it's a collaboration, you never know what it can lead to. It could be an unpaid collaboration where they send you some merchandise, you wear it, but you don't know who's going to see it. You don't know who they're going to talk to. You don't know who they know. That's how your network spiders out. It's very very important to be active with your networking, because it's not this person you talk to, it's the person that they know that they know that they know. That's going to come back to you and could be a big sponsor, could be a big business opportunity. That's why you always have to be consistently meeting people and networking, going to events, talk to people at the gyms for fighters. Most gyms have people that are multi-millionaires. I guarantee in the kids' classes, there's a few parents there that are multi-millionaires. Got big construction companies, got big companies, big caravan companies. You know what I mean? And approach them, ask. Just say, hey, you're in the same community, or get a coach. If you don't want to do it, get your coach or the gym owner to approach them and say, hey, would you like to help a fighter that's within our immediate community and help them reach their goals? A lot of the time, they will. They're the obscure businesses that are going to give you the money. Don't approach a business that's in your niche, especially in your sport. Like martial arts companies, clothing companies, whether it's training gear, supplements, you need no money from them because they don't have money, because it's a very small niche kind of market. You want the obscure companies, the construction companies, marketing agencies. They've always, engineering companies, they've always been my biggest sponsors. And all they want you to do is just go and party with them on New Year's Eve. That's it. Go talk, go meet their staff, go say hi to their staff. One of my obligations for a sponsor was to go on a 5-day fishing charter on Kangaroo Island.
That was
my obligation.
Yeah.
Yeah, with him and his mates. So he can show me off. Hey, UFC fighter, he's my mate.
Oh, wow.
And we're catching 300 snappers, we're catching this, catching that. And that was apparently my obligation, which was just an absolute blast. So there's sponsors out there like that. But they're not going to come to you. You got to go to them. You got to find them. You got to find them through your network, through the people that you know. And you're not doing that by sitting on the couch playing PlayStation.
And you'll find anyone. My dad has always told me, and I think I told you this last time, it takes 5 phone calls to find who you want, no matter who they are. Because everyone knows someone. Everyone knows each other through a friend of a friend, a relative, a mate. You'll find them. Yeah. And on a few occasions, I've tested it and I've been like, I want to see if I can get to this person. One phone call. Nah, speak to him. Oh, he's known his dad for years. All right, speak to him. Yeah, nah, I didn't know what. I actually know his cousin. Speak to his cousin. Oh, yeah, I'll get you in with it. And it's like, wait a second. It took me 15, 20 minutes of just making phone calls to get to who I wanted to get to. Yeah. And people, I guess, put that limit on themselves to say bullshit. They'll be like, no way. Try it. Yeah. If you think it's bullshit, try it. You want to get to someone, obviously you can't just call anyone. You're not going to call your grandmother first. Yeah. You're going to call someone who's in that industry, or someone who knows someone in that industry, or whose dad works in that company, or think about it for a few seconds and say to yourself, okay, if I want to get to government, or if I want to get to construction, I have to speak to someone in government or construction. Yeah. And you'll find your way there. Yeah. And it's important. And networking is the biggest thing. Is my girlfriend would always say to me, like, you talk to everyone. Like, how can you be bothered talking to so many people? Yeah. To me, I'm nice to everyone I meet, because you never know when they will either need you or you'll need them. And the opportunities that I've gotten now from just a conversation I had 3 years back, that's now come to a situation where they messaged me saying, hey bro, listen, I know we had that chat a few years back. Are you still interested? It's like, wait a second. That was a 2-minute conversation I had with that person, and now we could be potentially doing business together. Yeah. So you never know who could eventually give you that opportunity. And if you sit there and waste your time and don't, I guess, like what you said before, and you said when I was playing PlayStation, I felt like I was missing out on something.
Yeah.
I posted a video not long ago saying the dark side of that entrepreneur sort of world is that when you start getting to the personal development and seeing what you should be doing, you actually start to create like a checklist. And if you're doing something that's not on the checklist, you start to feel like you're wasting time or doing something you shouldn't be doing. So when I'll be sitting here till 8 o'clock at night, I sometimes look back at myself and say, did I do enough? I could have come here 8 o'clock, left 8 o'clock, and in my brain, I'm still saying, should I go home yet? Should I just maybe do a few more emails?
Yeah.
Maybe do a few more videos? And I think it can become unhealthy, 100%, because it can become too much sometimes where you're just constantly spending all your time, and it can ruin relationships, it can ruin friendships, it can ruin everything. So to me, I think you've done it very well, is that you balance it very well.
Yeah.
You balance your home life with your business life too.
Yeah.
It's not just all business for you or all family or whatever it is. You do a bit of everything.
Yeah.
I think it's what makes you happy and content and very, I guess, fulfilled. Because I don't think you would be fulfilled if you didn't, I guess, balance everything as well.
Yeah. No, 100%. I'd say that my network is so vast that I could find who I wanted in 3 phone calls.
Yeah.
But there's going to be that one person that's going to be, like you said, you have to think of where you want to end up. That one person is going to be the gateway into everyone else to where you want to go. But I think I'd say within 3 phone calls, I could find what I needed within reason. I'm not going to find, US military nuclear codes or something within 3 phone calls, but within reason, 3 phone calls.
I said someone, not something.
Yeah, that's right. And then what were you talking about after that? Talking about
You lost me now.
the last part you were talking about. It was
How saying because you sort of separate your time and sort of balance things.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not just all one or all the other. Yeah.
Yeah. It pretty much what I did was I was at a point where I was stretching myself really thin. This person would say, "Hey, come have coffee," or I go for a training. Someone would say, "Come have a coffee." So I have a coffee. By the time I finish the coffee, there's no point going back home because I'll be home for an hour and I have to leave again to train. So that one coffee has sort of taken away all that time in between where that would be put into quality time with the kids or sitting on a laptop doing business. So there's a point where I was bad. Like I was out from like 6 a.m. in the morning, head out, and I wouldn't come back home till night time. And the day was just filled with just menial, pointless stuff. So what I did, I sat back and I said, I have to clean everything up. If it's not, I won't even say close friends, I'll say family. People I consider family. I believe blood doesn't make you family. Your character and loyalty and stuff makes you family. But family, training, and work. At any point of the day, I have to be doing one of those 3 things. And I also have to have a good balance between those 3 things. My coach, my head coach at the moment, he said, you can't make more time in the day. It's impossible to make more time because what you have to do is make the time that you have quality. So I sat back and whatever I'm doing, at any point of the day, I'll be sitting there going, right now what I'm doing is equality. Yes, okay, we'll keep doing it. No, all right, we've got to change direction and go find something that's going to be worth my time doing. Playing with the kids obviously is important. Spending quality time with my wife, the rest of the family, important. Training's important for health, for one, but for me even more so because it's a big part of my career as well. And then if I sit down on the couch for 5 minutes, go to put Netflix on, I could be on the laptop instead doing work, answering emails. Or even if you are sitting on the couch, put a TV on the background. I'm one of those people, I can put a movie on the background and sit and crunch away on the laptop and not get distracted by it.
Yeah, I can't.
I can do that.
Sometimes I can.
Sometimes I need the background noise because I've been told I'm I was gonna say a little bit autistic, severely autistic.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Not actually diagnosed. Other people diagnose me.
Yeah.
Apparently the way I open boxes.
What?
You open a box like that. I go this and I rip open boxes, and apparently that's a big sign of ADHD or autism or something like that.
Yeah, I think ADHD and autism are very different things.
Probably, yeah. I've never opened a box like that's clean. Clean.
Cut it with a knife.
I'll start, but it's just like if something annoys me, it just gets shredded open. So having the background noise actually helps, if anything.
Okay.
I was like that when I was younger, but I always got told off. I'd have my headphones in when put music on when I'm doing homework, and I always got told you can't do homework and listen to music. So I'd always take them out.
Yeah,
I got a terrible ATAR score. I got a terrible NS score.
All the time you're doing it, you're always playing something in your ears.
I wanted to, yeah.
Oh, but you couldn't.
Yeah. I always need something sort of going on. I don't like quiet. If I'm sitting, it's just quiet. It throws me off a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if it's got to do with my career and fighting in big stadiums and just always being in gyms that are noisy and loud. I don't know. I feel like silence is almost silence to me makes me feel like I'm not getting something done. As weird as that sounds.
Yeah.
I need that noise to feel like there's something happening around me, something that's busy.
Maybe it could be.
Yeah, I can be sitting on the laptop and be going, but if it's quiet, I don't like it. I have some sort of background noise.
That's very interesting. I've never heard of that before.
I don't like being out in public. It gives me massive anxiety, but I like hearing some sort of noise, like just that, like not hustle and bustle, but something in the background that just, I don't know.
Can you please, like you just mentioned then, can you go into the part, because when you told me this, I freaked out about how when you go out in the, like, I guess, into civilization, you get anxious and stuff like that. How does that, how does a person like yourself that's fights and does all this stuff and is in stadiums get anxious when they're out in the open?
I get anxiety in public because of what I do for a living. Because the longer we're out, the more chance something's going to go wrong. Especially in this day and age, you see people getting stabbed, mass stabbings, machete fights in shopping centres. It's absolute insanity. And obviously the girls, our wives and girlfriends, they love to go to the shopping centres and walk around and window shop. I'll be all right for the first 20 minutes, half an hour, but then I start getting antsy. Like, all it takes is someone looks at me too long, someone looks at my wife, someone's rude to my wife, someone's rude to me. That's it. Like, I'm obviously not going to back down. It's going to cause big trouble. So, because we wanted to be at the shopping centre, walking around, which is pointless, absolutely pointless, just to go and kill time and walk around. Again, something that's pointless. Like, we could be doing something constructive in that time, but because we wanted to go and do something that's pointless, now I'm getting arrested and getting locked up. Like, that's where my mind goes. I go into a shopping centre and I'll try to look at the ground as much as I can. People recognise me. You never know if someone wants to be a big dog that day and try and call out a UFC fighter. The longer we're out, the more chance that something can go wrong. That's where my anxiety comes from.
Has it happened before?
No.
So you're just made of a whole...
Oh, look. I mean, we've been in the vicinity of... So we've been at shopping... I've been at shopping centres when a car's been lit up and shot in and someone's been killed. I've been inside the shopping centre when that happened in the car park. I've been inside a shopping centre when there was a big knife fight in the food court and a gun went off as well.
Oh, wow.
So I've been in the proximity, not even close enough to hear anything, but in the proximity and could have very easily been in the middle of it. I've been at shopping centres when little 12-year-olds are standing around and you can see there's a big group of 12-year-olds. The next thing you know, they're running from the staff and the staff are on the radio saying they've got knives. My little kids are standing right there next to me. It's just, I don't know how people don't get anxiety. I don't know how people walk around and they're just so la-di-da when all this stuff's going on behind them. And I've got friends that are very much the same as well. But the main anxiety is that if something happens, I'm not going to back down because obviously, like, it's my personality. If you look at me the wrong way, I'm not going to just turn around and suck it up. So
I guess you're protecting them from you.
In a way, and myself from going to jail. So
yeah.
In a way, I'd rather just remove myself from any situation where something could go wrong. That's why I didn't not go out when I was younger because I wanted to be fit. And I mean, you can go out and not drink and have fun. It wasn't the reason I didn't go out. I didn't go out for that reason. Because it's likely that something's going to happen one time. It's very, very likely, and it's 100% likely that I'm not going to back down and something's going to happen. So I just rather remove myself from any chance of that happening.
You're right, because when I think about when I used to go clubbing and stuff like that, every time I'd be out in the open, I'd always be analysing what's going on. I'd always be looking at what's happening over there, what's going over there. There'd be a bit of commotion. I'd be like, okay, I'd sort of pick up on what's going on, and I'd sort of, I guess, move in the opposite side of the club.
Yeah.
And I found that I actually couldn't enjoy myself as much as I'd hoped.
Yeah.
Because I was so focused on everything else that was going on, because I felt I had an obligation to protect the people that were with me. So I would choose to sit there and watch the whole party
Yeah.
than to have my friends in danger.
Yeah. And then you've
Or
gone
my-
out, you're going to have a late night, feel crap the next day. You've
Yeah.
wasted money going out, you've wasted time. There's no point going in the first place.
No.
So like I'm not a hermit by any means. I love getting out and about, going to my closest friends' houses. I don't really like going to people I don't know's house. Go to my friends' houses, doing barbecues with the families. Very, very close, tight-knit circle of guys that I trust. And we have a blast, but it's just a different kind of fun to what people are used to having, I guess. So like, it never appealed to me to go out to clubs and go out to festivals and go to these busy places, go to shopping centres. Like I've walked into shopping centres on public holidays, for example, and just gone, nah, we're going. It's just too busy.
Oh, so you just walked out?
Just walk in and be like, nah, we're going, and walk out. I've driven in car parks and gone, nah, just turn around and driven back home.
Serious? So is that just from the anxiety of too many people and the potential of something happening?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's all it boils down to.
Did something happen? Because I know from my experience, my anxiety in, I guess, a room full of people or a shopping centre or whatever it is, has come from an experience I had where I felt like I wasn't aware of what was going on and someone got hurt. And it's always stuck with me.
Yeah.
So that's why I guess I'm now overprotective when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah.
Do you remember anything that happened to you that could have caused that?
Nothing in particular.
No.
All that comes to mind is that I'm not dumb. And people are dumb. People are so oblivious. Like I see someone who's walking around with headphones on in public. Like I just don't understand how people can be so oblivious and just want to be in their own world when you don't know what's going on behind you. You don't know. It's very exhausting. I go to the shopping centre. I'm more tired from walking around the shopping centre for an hour than I will be from training for an hour.
Because
mentally, you're
going.
just like, yeah, you're looking, you hear a noise. Where's my little 2-year-old? Where's my 5-year-old? Are they running off? They're doing this. Is someone looking at my missus? Someone trying to touch my missus? It's just, nah. And I've got a 5-acre farm. I can go sit there, relax. I can walk around in the garden and just breathe fresh air and just relax. I don't need to go and do that. To what? To go and buy. I can buy everything. You can buy everything online. Even for groceries, I was always like, buying groceries online, it's so lazy. Like now I'm like, nah. Everything can be ordered and dropped off to the house. There's no need to go. Last time I went, like it wasn't the last time, but one of the times I went to a shopping centre, some guy was harassing my mother-in-law, and I had to walk him out to the car park, and then he eventually he was full of it. He ended up apologising and saying no, but it very easily could have eventuated to something pretty bad for him. You know what I mean? Like we walked out to the car park before he stopped and turned around and said, "Oh no, it was my fault. I apologise." But that was grocery shopping.
Yeah.
I was just going to buy some chicken, man. Like I didn't want to go and take someone out to the car park and potentially do whatever I was going to do to them. And that was in a small, quiet, rural supermarket as well. Let alone a big busy shopping centre.
Does your wife go shopping at all? Lot?
Yeah. So I've told my wife, we're not going to just go and walk around for the sake of it anymore. There's no need, especially with a big farm. Like we've got so much things we can do on the farm and have fun. I think people go to the shopping centres to walk around because there's really nothing to do when you think about like what there is to do at home. Watch Netflix, play PlayStation, go for a walk the dog. Like, you know what I mean? There's not really much to do. So people go to shopping centres to kill time. And last thing I want to do is end up getting stabbed or arrested because I wanted to go to the shopping centre to kill a couple of hours.
Yeah, just to waste time.
Just to waste time. It's just absolutely pointless. So I do tell my wife, obviously the girls like to go and walk around and window shop, but I say to her, as much as you can, avoid going to a shopping centre, for sure.
Yeah, well, it is. At the end of the day, it's hard because...
But Epping Plaza...
Oh, Epping Plaza's
knife
the
fight
worst.
and the gun went off.
Yeah, well, I went there and when
my mother-in-law works at the post office there. Like, fuck me.
But there's a lot going on, even with shopping centres in general now. There was a stabbing at, I don't know where it was. I know it was interstate, but like there was a stabbing there. I think someone got stabbed at Epping not long ago as well.
Yeah.
It's just, and I remember growing up around that because I was only at around the corner from Epping Plaza at my school. So when we used to go there, there's always some sort of fight, some sort of commotion, some 12-year-old trying to bring a bum bag with his knife in, bring a bum bag to the plaza with a little pocket knife in there. And even when I got older, I would go with one of my mates, and we're probably 18 at the time, and you walk through the entrance, a bunch of 12-year-olds, about 3-4 of them, bump into us. We're walking. He hip and shoulders me. I looked at him. He goes, "What are you going to do about it?" I looked at my mate. I go, "What's wrong with these kids?"
Yeah.
I go, "That kid, realistically, if he'd done to the wrong person, they would have both all been bashed."
Yeah.
But I'm just looked in and I just laughed. I'm like, "What's wrong with this kid?" Like he was honestly, no bullshit. He was probably up to here on me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, just that mindset. And obviously, it's just bullshit things. But a 12-year-old could actually kill you.
Yeah.
If they pull a knife on you without you noticing.
Yeah. There's no fear of authority in these kids anymore.
Nah.
At all.
No.
Fucking retarded, these kids. Fucking retarded, these kids. These kids that ran around with knives the other day at Westfield, it was at Westfield Plenty Valley, they were like probably 12. Mo noticed at first, he's like, "Look at these fucking retards." He goes, "Oh, they're talking about jumping someone in Kmart." I think they did. I think when they went and jumped some other 12-year-old, and then the security were chasing him. And they had knives. You can hear them on the radio. They're like, "Oh, they got knives. They got knives."
Oh, my God.
It's just, yeah, crazy. My kids are there. My mates, our wives are there. He's got like a little 8-month-old in a pram. You know what I mean? It's just, no.
It's just gone beyond the joke.
We had breakfast, and we walked around, not for any reason, we're just walking around.
You can't. It's just, yeah, you're right. It's pointless.
Yeah.
Especially right now with what's happening. I feel like the world's gone mad a little bit, and just everyone's just I feel like everyone's just agitated.
Yeah.
I feel like when you drive, you look at people in the car, and they all look like they want to kill someone.
Yeah.
No one looks relaxed in the car.
They want to kill. They want to kill themselves.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That too.
And then they're speeding around. They cut you off. And
Yeah.
I'm like, it's like, where are you in a rush to go? Where are you in a rush? Your kids hate you, and your wife's fucking fat and ugly, bro. Where are you trying to rush to go home to? You know what I mean? Like, why are you in a rush to go home? Rush the other way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I think people hate their lives so much that comes out.
Oh, it does all the time.
Like, everyone's rude now, especially since COVID. People have mentioned to me. They go, "Man, everyone's ruder since COVID."
Yeah, everyone's just on edge.
Everyone's young. These kids don't have any sort of social skills whatsoever. People are just angry, miserable, always in a rush. You'll never see me rush. This is one thing I teach anyone that I'm sort of mentoring. I guess I said don't ever let anyone see you in a rush. Even if you're if I am in a rush, you won't see me rushing. You won't see me in a rush.
You won't even know.
If I see someone rushing around, that shows me that they're unorganized and unreliable. So you don't want to be that person that looks unorganized and unreliable. So even if I am running late, if I am in a rush, you won't see me rushing. Because realistically, you're not going to get anywhere any quicker. So,
And most times, you'll notice that when you try to rush, there was a car that pulls out in front of you. You get every red light. It's like you attract everything's going to slow you down.
Yeah.
And when you're sitting there, and you're right. When you sit there and just say, "When I get there, I get there."
Yeah.
You try to sort of obviously plan to give yourself time to get there. And 9 times out of 10, you'll get there on time.
Yeah.
And to be honest, there aren't many people around that are actually on time to places. To be honest, every time we've caught up, you've always been there either just before or right the second it hit 5 o'clock. So just coming here.
That's late.
Yeah, here. I called you at 5 o'clock. You were actually at the gate.
Yeah.
So it just makes you. I've had to work on that a lot. I was always late, and I now have to plan in my calendar to say leave. Like even say leave, and I'd actually put a section in my calendar that say travel time. So if it was long distance, an hour, 45 minutes, I'd put travel time, and always allow an extra 15 minutes.
Yeah.
If it's that distance, because you don't know car accidents,
allow
traffic. Yeah.
Yeah. The one that stresses me out is being on time places. Being punctual is massive to me. And it stressed me out because the girls are like, "Oh, no one ever gets here on time. They get there half an hour late." I go, "That's rude." I don't care. They can be rude and get there half an hour later. I'm going to get there on time. And for business things especially, 15 minutes early is on time. That's always been my rule.
For business stuff, I guess it's what they say. Within the first 7 seconds, people sort of create their perception of you in a way.
Yeah.
And I guess if you're rocked up late, you've already started on the back foot.
Yeah.
So
I'd love to have a really important business meeting one day, and the person's 5 minutes late. and they walk into the room and I'm not there. I left.
Would you do
I
that?
left 3 past. Yeah, 100%.
So
if it was a big business deal, yeah. Yeah.
I think honestly, I
Just
think
to
it's
teach
right.
them a lesson.
I think it's right because end of the day,
I've never experienced that, but I've expected, like, I've been to some meetings before with, like, you know, I'm talking brass, people that are like up there, you know, whether it's to do with like UFC or especially like high level journalists with obviously doing like articles and things with fights coming up. And I've worked to places late, you know, traffic and whatnot, and expected to walk in there and they're not there. And I would have said, fair enough.
but obviously they're
They've
waiting
been
for
there.
you,
I've
yeah.
never experienced it, but if I did, I'd say, yeah, fair enough. I was late.
Well, yeah, I went through a stage as well where the same mindset, where I started to think to myself, these guys come in late to meetings, to this, to that. I guess, what's the word for
I've
it?
seen your calendar. You can't afford to.
Yeah, you
Be
can't.
late.
Nah, if I'm late 15 minutes, it pushes everything
yeah.
out. And I had a lot of experiences where people were rocking up 10, 15 minutes late to either a in-person meeting or a Zoom meeting or whatever it was, and it got to a point where I had to sort of say to myself, "How much do you respect your own time?"
Yeah.
Because they obviously don't.
Yeah.
They couldn't care less whether they rock up half an hour late, 20 minutes late, 15 minutes late. So what I would do is say, past 10 minutes, I'll cancel the call. I don't care how important it was, I was cancelling it.
Yeah.
Because I had to put a quality on my time and I had to appreciate my own time. And I had to make sure that they respected my time too.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people will take advantage of it. And a lot of people will take advantage of you when you're too nice as well.
Yeah.
And I was always too nice. Then I had to change and say, nah, enough's enough.
Yeah.
You rock up, you're 10 minutes late, you'll see the cancellation will come up on your email saying Peter's cancelled the meeting. And I'll say, all right, you can reschedule with me when we're both free
Nothing
again.
wrong with it. They're not
I don't think there is.
The next time they have a meeting with someone else, they're not going to do it to that person. You know?
No.
You know what I talk about? Talk about the 8.
You want to
you want to like put it
I
out
don't
there?
know if I should mention it yet.
Just talk about the importance of networking and just talk about.
Okay. So to me,
Don't necessarily have to say you've created.
no, I've always had an idea of creating something where you can actually, I guess, a network, a brotherhood, a bond beyond blood, because blood can deceive you too, and blood can lie to you. So to me, I want to create something that's stronger than that, because I believe that, especially as men, we bond better when we're all working as a team on something. The strongest groups you'll find is like a football team, soccer team, whatever it is, that train together, eat together, do everything together, because they've got each other. So I've always had this idea of creating something where it is that, and it's actually a group where you hold each other accountable to, and if just say you've got a goal, we all make sure you achieve that goal, not just yourself. You've got people that are going to hold you accountable for what you've told them you want to achieve. Because I always found that I would keep my goals to myself, and if I didn't achieve it, no one knew. And no one was going to pull me up on it and say, wait a second, you said you were going to do A, B, and C.
Yeah.
So I guess I've always had this mindset of you need to create something that holds you accountable. And I want to create a group for that, where it's basically a brotherhood. We do everything together. You know what I mean? So if we're going to go to an event and there's your fight's coming up, we all go together. It's not just, but you know, the cool thing is that you'll know everyone's going to be there.
Yeah.
And if you don't rock up to all these events, you're out the group. If you don't show that you're going to be there for your brothers, you're not there.
Yeah.
You're out of the group. That's it. You're not paying for it. You're just part of a group that you break the rules, you embarrass us, you disrespect, you do all these things that are important to our morals, you're out. There's no warnings, there's no nothing. You were just out. I think that will create the strength behind it, because if there's no money invested, there's nothing keeping you there except the fact that you have to put in effort to be there, Well, then if you're out, you're the one losing. We're not losing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you help each other because at the end of the day, since I've met you, the amount of stuff we've bounced off each other
Yeah.
to say, hey, Jake, I've got this idea. What do you reckon? Hey, I've got this idea. What do you reckon? And you've done the same thing to me. Ask my advice. And if you can have a group of people we can do the same thing to and have a regular time that you all catch up and you just sit there and just ask, it's not bullshit catch-ups. Some of it is just for general catch-ups, but you sit there and you ask each other, hey, what's going on? What are you working on? Oh, Pete, I'm doing this, this, and this. All right, I'll hook you up with this guy. Hey, call this guy. Call this person. Have you thought about it? Have you thought about doing it like this?
Yeah.
Having that, I honestly reckon, and I think when I told you, you even got excited because it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
We don't have that. I think we need that. I think we need people to hold us accountable. Because if it's up to ourselves, most times we don't.
Yeah. The biggest thing is I take away from that is accountability. Because I say to everyone, I'm the kind of person, I shit on the lawn. So whether it's a bad trait about me,
Yeah.
whether it's a failure, like people will see it and they'll know it because I'm the first one. If there's something I want to achieve, I'm the first one to go and tell everyone about it. Because what that does then is it makes it real. I've vocalized it. I've told people. If I don't achieve it now, it's going to make me a liar, and I'm not going to be a liar. If you keep it to yourself, you can, I don't know. People who keep things to themselves, I find them sneaky. Like, oh, I was doing this, I didn't tell anyone about it in case I failed. Like, to me, that's sneaky. It says a lot about their character. As soon as I have an idea, if it's something I can control, if there's other parties involved, and there's a potential of something coming my way in terms of business venture, I won't necessarily go and tell everyone about it because it's not purely based on me and my work, whether that gets done or not. But if it's something where I have a goal, a personal goal that I want to achieve, if it's for a fight example, I'll put it on Instagram. This fight, I'm going to stand up and either knock him out or get knocked out. I've said that. I can't take him down
now.
now.
On social media.
100%, yeah.
Yeah.
One of my fight of the nights. Everyone expect, like I was known for my grappling, especially back then. And I put it out on Twitter and Instagram. I said, I'm going to knock him out or get knocked out trying. I can't go take him down now. You know what I mean? I have to.
Now you
and
have
I
to
did.
do
I
it.
stood up and I won. And it was just a slog fest. And we got fight of the night. Got an extra 50.
Was that the last fight?
That wasn't the last fight. No, that was this was my last fight in Perth.
Well, who was your last fight with?
My last fight was with Philip Rowe.
Was that the one I sent you the video? I sent you the video of the short of you just unleashing on him.
That was the one. Yeah.
See,
yeah. Everyone asked me for getting angry because.
Oh my god!
He faked
You
the
look
groin
like
shot.
you just went ape shit on him.
Yeah.
It's like you just
wanted
lost it. Not like you lost it. It's like you sort of said like, yeah, you wanna.
Yeah.
you
I
wanna
just
muck around.
wanted to close the round out. I just wanted to close the round out strong. And for one of the judges, it won me that round. So one judge had all 3 rounds, me winning, based off that last little effort.
Wow. Like I said, you done well.
Yeah.
When I watched that video, I think I recorded it, I sent it to you. I freaked out.
Yeah.
I was just like, because from your old fights, you didn't look comfortable. You know what I mean?
It's because I had that fear and I was
Yeah,
holding
you had a
back
bit
lot,
of fear. Like now when you fight, you look like you're just, like you said, you're just enjoying your time there.
Yeah.
And just, whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
But,
I just genuinely, I've accepted. Like some people still don't like hearing it. They're like, oh, it's a bit violent, I guess people would say. But I genuinely like inflicting pain on people.
you enjoy
Like,
it.
I enjoy it, yeah. Like I've there's people in the gym where should I say it? I've had times in the gym where I've knocked people out in training. I've kicked people in the leg and broken legs multiple times in training, and like you feel bad for me, I guess, but there's always that little smirk in the side of your cheek because it reinforces in you that like you're ready for the fight that's coming up. You know what I mean? So like, it's not that I necessarily want to hurt my training partners, and you do feel bad, but you do get that little smirk when like what you're doing works. It's effective, and it's the nature of the sport that being successful in those things is going to inflict pain on your opponent, on your training partner. But what that means is inflicting pain on your training partner. It's going to do the same thing to your opponent, and it's reinforcing that confidence for your fight. That's where the enjoyment comes from. That's where the smirk comes from. If I was just a weekend warrior and I was just training for the fun of it, for fitness, I'd probably tip tap in sparring. There's no way I'd be throwing hard trying to hurt people. And the people that are, they're the assholes because they don't have it. What's their final goal? Okay, you just knocked this guy out in training, you just hurt him, but what's your final goal? Where's it going to get you?
Yeah.
Nowhere. For me, like I've knocked him out. Like I feel bad. He was trying to knock me out too. It could easily go on both ways, but it's reinforced in me. Okay, like I can do this to my opponent. I can knock them out. I can kick them in the leg and break their leg. That's where the enjoyment comes from. The satisfaction of okay, we put in effort to work on these things, and I hit pads to work on knocking people out, and we go and spar. We implement those things and we knock the guy out.
Well, it's not going to work. You're not going to know it works until you actually do it during training.
Exactly.
You won't have a clue.
How are you gonna know if you can knock someone out in a fight if you've never knocked someone out in training? And unfortunately, the people you knock out in training most of the time, unless it's a random gym, are going to be your training partners and people you know. People see videos of a few fighters, ones like Ili Tapuria, for example, and you see the fans in the comments, oh, what an arsehole, knocking out his training partners, throwing spinning elbows, spinning this. That's what you got to do in a fight.
Yeah.
How do you expect it? People go, oh, you should have done this in the fight. You should have done this in the fight. Spinning back this, spinning heel that. You cannot pull something off in a fight if you don't do it in training. And unfortunately, that's going to lead to people getting hurt, injured, knocked out, broken legs. So, and the way we learned this was after fights, I've had coaches and cornermen say to me, oh, why didn't you do this? And I'm like, yeah, it was like so clear that I should have done that. And I'm like, you know what? We don't train. We don't train to do that. We haven't done the repetitions. We haven't done the repetitions to achieve that in a fight. So how am I going to just pull off in a fight? As simple as it sounds, as simple as I should have grabbed him and pushed him to the fence. It sounds simple, but it's not. When you're in a fight, it's your natural instinct, the things that you've worked on, the repetitions you've done in the gym. And that comes down to knocking someone out as well. So if you're not knocking someone out in the gym, you're probably not going to knock them out in a fight.
No.
Because you need to experience what it's like to actually land those punches and do that.
Yeah, well, guaranteed. And I know people will crack the shits and say like, oh, you're a piece of shit. You're probably fighting partners are sitting there saying, this little shit. He's sitting there trying to knock me out every session. But end of the day, they're training as well to fight.
Yeah.
As well.
Unless they do something, there's a few things. You're not going to do nothing illegal. There's a few things that are considered stupid. One example would be like this flying scissor takedown, like ACL done a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Like it's one of those ones. Yeah. If you do that, you're an arsehole.
You're not going to front kick.
If you throw a punch and you hit him in the head, like what are we trying to achieve here? That's it's part of it. So yeah, and I'd say it's usually the fans that have never been into a gym or sparred or thrown a punch in their life that think that that's somehow bad. But every fighter will tell you, like I've seen guys spar. I've seen some sparring sessions. You've never seen guys go this hard in a fight. Like I'd pay money to watch that sparring session again.
Yeah,
that's how hard they went. People got to remember, I trained at Greg Jackson's gym when I was 18. I lived there for a few months between Chicago and Albuquerque. The amount of people I saw get knocked out in that gym, and like it's not like, oh, I knocked him out, I got to help him. It's like I knocked him out, and he's like, yeah, boy.
Oh yeah,
you like that? Like, bro, he's your training partner. He's knocked him out, and then they're acting like that. But they're in their fight in that moment. Like he's in the UFC.
They think they're fighting for a belt.
The crowd's there. You know what I mean? That's what you're seeing.
Yeah.
And then after a few minutes, you calm down. Oh, hey, sorry, man. Like I knocked you out, but like these guys are knocking each other out and sparring. I had people throw spinning heel kicks, like knees with no knee pads. But it's fun. I love it. Like if someone genuinely gets me, I've never been knocked out in my life.
No.
Never.
Even no training.
Been flashed, never been knocked out. But if a training partner lands something and knocks me out, like I'm not going to get up and be salty about it. Man, good job. You achieved the goal. You know what I mean? I just need to be better next time.
Well, yeah. I was about to say just then, it takes a lot to get into even just training with someone, sparring with them. Like I only started recently, and hearing about your stories about what you've done in training, I'm like, man, I can think of to myself, I've trained with people who just started trying to become professional. Imagine being hit by someone who's been in the cage, done all this stuff. Like it's not a thing you muck around with.
For me, this is going to sound weird. For me, that's the most foreign, strangest thing anyone says to me. When people say that to me, like, oh, I don't understand how you can get in there and do this and fight. And like I'll be scared. For me, that's because I've done my entire life is fight.
Yeah.
So for me, it's the most natural, normal, comfortable feeling. So when someone says it's unnatural for them, it just doesn't register with me.
No.
Because at the end of the day, like, we all have it in us.
Yeah.
If someone backs you in a corner, you're able to do it. And but maybe it takes that for people to bring it out of them, to be backed into a corner. Literally, it's one thing to have to do it fight or flight. It's another thing to actually have to put the gloves on, consciously get into a ring and spar someone or fight someone. But all I've ever known my entire life was fighting in martial arts, in every sense.
Yeah.
100%. Like going back to the PlayStation. So I always said to people, like, I won't turn the PlayStation on and play Supercross Madness. Like, I'm gonna get my dirt bike and go out to the mountain and go right.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna play Call of Duty. I went and joined the Army Reserves and did basic training and joined the army. Like, I'm telling you, like, I had like the inkling, like, I want to do something with the military. A lot of people will pick up the controller and play Call of Duty. I joined the army.
That's full on.
Not because I wanted to go a long career in the army. I just wanted to join the army and be in the army. And for me, it was fun. The basic training was an absolute blast. Like, some people hate it. A lot of people just left. They quit. First 3 days, grown men. Oh, this is not what I thought it would be. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, oh, they're yelling at us in 5 a.m. to get up. I'm like, but that is in every army movie you've ever watched. Like, what do you think it's going to be like?
That's the bare minimum of doing it.
They abuse us and yell at us. Like, man, that's what I'm here for. I'm here to get yelled at, screamed at, like, abused. Like, that's what I want. And it was an absolute blast. I loved it. I'll do basic training again.
Oh, 100%.
Absolutely.
It's just, but like I said, that's the expectation.
Yeah.
You're going in there, the minimum you're going to get is you're going to feel uncomfortable. And I think putting yourself in uncomfortable situations more often is better.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, life's uncomfortable. Things always come up. You're always going to have things happen, and you got to learn to deal with it and move on.
Yeah. I'm uncomfortable being comfortable.
Yeah.
Usually it's the opposite for everyone else.
100%.
Like, if I'm sitting at home on the couch and I've got a blanket on me and the Netflix is on and sitting there, snacks, like, it doesn't register well with me. I start passing out.
It's like getting agitated.
I start getting antsy. Like,
yeah.
The wife wants to lay on you here. It's like get off me. Like, I want to go. Yeah, like, I want to go to the gym. I say to my wife all the time, be like 10:30 p.m., 10:30. Like, I want to go to the gym. She's like, you're not going to the gym. I say, I need to go to the gym, especially in between fights. When, like, during a training camp, you get flogged 3 times a day. Different story. Like, you know, you just, by the end of the day, you're passing out. In between fights, that's when I get antsy. That's where it's easy to fall into that comfortable trap. You know, you just want to fight. You can go home, relax. You go see all your friends. You know, you're at home. There's no obligation to go train. You can sit on the couch. You can get comfy. But it stresses me out. It scares me, because getting out of that rut of being comfortable, that's the hardest part.
Yeah.
As much as I want to go train, I love
yeah.
training. If I have a week off training, like, it's very hard to. It's probably a week, and then it's probably another 3 or 4 days until I can actually get myself back into the routine. It's not just going from 5 days of rest, just bang back into 3 sessions a day. It's very hard, and the longer you prolong it, the harder it is to get back into it. And we see that with people who put weight on, they get out of the gym. It's very hard to start again.
Oh, guaranteed. And I agree with you. It's probably the hardest thing to do is when you lose that momentum to start back up again.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we can talk for days about this stuff.
The boys
are going to come here soon. So just want to say thank you, man. Thank you for jumping on, because I know me and you have a lot of chats off camera.
Yeah.
But no, it'll be good. I always knew it'd be good to actually get one recorded.
Yeah.
To sit there and have a chat. I know we'll do it again sometime, but yeah, I guess next time we'll allow for a bit more time. But it was good, man. That was good. I liked it.
Sick. Next time we'll do like maybe do it on the couch and do like a full length episode one.
Yeah.
And we'll have like an actual.
That's it.
This one will probably be more just like snippets. There's heaps of good snippets there.
100%. I like it, bro. Thank you so much for coming.
All good.
Appreciate it.